Well, we're going to be heading in towards Superheat 2 in a moment's time for the junior category, and that will have Scott Marsh starting on pole position with Jarrett Clark starting alongside. Or dry line on the circuit, half the track still covered in water. Everyone going out on slick tyres. Let's see what happens. Engines fire up as the field heads out on track. Let's take you through the full starting lineup for the OK Junior Superheat 2. Scott Marsh and Jarrett Clark round out row number 1. They'll have Zach Green and Rocco Coronel on row 2. Kenzo Craigie and Asher Osteen on row 3. They'll have Nicholas Schaufler and Ian Kraling on row 4. Jacopo Martinez and Daniel Kelleher round out row 5. Then you'll have Devon Waltz and Kerry Fairhand on row 6. Vladimir Ivanikov and Endo Rata round out row 7. They'll have Andrea Mani and Zhang Jose on row 8. Ludovico Mazzola and Boris Lyson round out the final row that's inside the cut-off area. And then after that, you see Sebastian Mins and Turner Brown. Drew Waltz and Lev Krutilov, who's had a brilliant round of qualifying heats. He qualified terribly, but he has made his way through the field. He starts this one, P22, just outside that cut-off. Then it's Paul Andriotis and Bruno Greek on row 12, Kanishk Rao and Toby Gale on row 3, Jean-Matteo Rousseau and George Edgar round out row number 4, Bautista Panetta and Makar Savalev round out the top 30 on row 15. They'll have Jack Eiliff and Thomas Bardier on row 16. Armin Kari Osman and Gilles Herman round out row 17 with Mats van Rooyen and Oscar Gallin rounding out the 18 rows on grid. All drivers confirmed on slick tyres for this race, but with that track, well, still pretty wet out there. You just don't know what is going to happen. Of course, the crowd's accumulating over the bridge section there. You can all see them wanting to get the view of the banking over the bridge here. And of course, through turn number 1. This is a tense time for them right now. First race of the day on slick tyres. Clouds looming all over the circuit, but it's the brightest it's been since, of course, Friday, where you didn't see those beautiful conditions on the broadcast. We weren't live on Friday, but it was a beautiful 23, 25 degrees, blue sky and sunshine throughout. But over the last couple of days, this European field has had to deal with the British weather, the rain tumbling throughout this weekend. It rained a lot last night, and this morning, of course, with the low temperatures, the track not drying up like we would usually see in a summer storm in Europe. You get a lot of rain and thunderstorms every night in, say, Spain or Italy after a really hot day. But then by the time you get there in the morning, yes, okay, the track is green with no rubber down, but at least it's dry and they can go out on slicks first time. But it's not the case here. Looks like we're good to start racing. Are we going racing the first time of asking? No, it is a false start. They are heading round again. So the field not getting away well. So this gives them a good opportunity to, again, get a little bit more temperature in those tyres. But we'll have to see what happens as, again, a lot of standing water still out there. You can see over the bridge. Yes, there's a lot of dry bits out there. A lot of wet bits out there as well, so they will have to be careful. Reminder of the Junior Championship at the moment after the qualifying heats phase yesterday. It's still Van Langendonk who leads it, 257. However, he is racing in the senior category right now, so he scored absolutely nothing for this round. Nicholas Schaufler only scoring 2 championship points, but puts himself still second in the championship, and he's only 20 points behind Van Langendonk with still many more points opportunities to score right now. Christian Costoy sits third with 198 from Rocco Coronel's 181, so they're still relatively close in the championship standings. However, I don't think they're going to have enough to try and close in on Schaufler. We'll have to see how it goes because Costoy has been looking strong. Schaufler, however, has been on the back foot a little bit, but he starts this one, the number 33, on the 4th row of the grid after qualifying 26th place overall over the course of this weekend. But let's see what happens. A little bit shaky at the back of the field here. Looks good at the front. Are we racing? No, another false start. That's 2 false starts out of 2. A 3rd false start, and they might be in a bit of bother. You can forgive the drivers a little bit, though, for this one. Remember, slick tyres on a wet track, not what you want to see at all. But these drivers are doing it, and that means when they get into the Bobby Kane, Mike Wilson complex, where they have to really slow it down, think about where they position themselves, holding on to that one, it's difficult to do. It's difficult to stay bunched up all the way throughout. But let's see what happens third time of asking. Hopefully the front keeps it nice and steady. You can understand why the front it keeps going as fast as they can. They need to keep temperature in these slick tyres. The operating window is pretty high out there, and that is why you're seeing all this weaving happening on that dry line. You step a wheel on that wet though, and it's gonna rotate. You'll lose all the tyre temperature immediately, and you'll find yourself tumbling down the order. So again, keep the pressure up at the front, keep it nice and steady. They pass the red line. From this point onwards, no overtaking is permitted. They should be in 2x2 rolling start formation. We're not seeing that, of course. The field's very spread out. They do not want to be on that wet part of the track, so they're all trying to squeeze on that dry bit. But again, the front need to bring the pace down because the back of the grid is just not formed up here. Into the tram lines. Is it going to be third time's the charm? Are we racing? Yes, we are. We're racing in Superheat 2 in the juniors. The first race on slick tyres, and some drivers have just not got the traction at all. They take to the grass and slide down the order. The front runners, though, holding on to that racing line, and Marsh holds on to the lead of this one as they go over the Litchfield Bridge for the first time. Some drivers getting caught out on the wet conditions. They'll lose all the tyre temperature and they'll run out wide on the exit of the Litchfield Bridge, and they do. One of the NG courses going backwards, as I think was the Paralin of Kerry Fairhand, who had the trouble at the start of the race, and the Bruno Ferrari S's. There's a spin, multiple spins at hairpin number 1. 3 carts off and into the barriers. Marshall's quickly on the scene to assist, but we'll find out who they are in a moment. But at the moment, it is Scott Marsh who leads the way from Zach Green. There, Rocco Coronel up into third place, and it looks like Jarrett Clark holding on to P4 for the time being. It's a 4-cut breakaway there. The confirmation the cart's involved in that one. Looks like Jacopo Martinese could be one of them. Looks like that's the barrel of Ludovico Mazzola involved. Drew Waltz could be another one, and possibly even Toby Gale in the CRG, who I think have all got caught out on that first opening lap. But the race continues, and it is Scott Marsh who leads the way, but not for much longer, because down the inside goes Zach Green. Coronel goes through as well, as now Scott Marsh is having to defend from Kenzo Craigie. Craigie, another one of the Mercedes junior drivers, heading in towards hairpin number 1 under yellows. No overtaking will be permitted here. He's got to wait until he passes the green. Now he sees the green flag. They are green flag and racing once more, so he can go for the move, and he's done that instantly. Straight down the inside through hairpin number 2 for Kenzo Craigie, and he's up into P4, pushing himself along nicely here. Marsh down there in P6, Krayling there as well. Asher Osteen has got past Nicholas Schaufler. Schaufler has tumbled down to 8th place in this one. So we'll keep a close eye on this, but the top 3 are looking competitive right now. Zach Green pushing himself forward. 2 qualifying heat wins yesterday over the course of the weekend. Can he take a superheat win in this one? And that will help him out in the final, because it will bump him up second, but he's going to lose out on the lead, because through goes Coronel and through goes Jarrett Clark. Now with that change of position, that might help out Jarrett Clark. He sits a little lower down in the intermediate classifications with 314 points, but he is a fraction ahead now of Rocco Coronel, and Clark now steps up into second in the points as he gets through past Coronel. Has Coronel got a problem? He's run wide, and those slick tyres are cooled right down, and the field just swamped him there on the exit. Oh, it's very wide, goes Green. He's going to have no temperature in the tyres into Bobby Kane Corner. You can see he turned in, he had nothing. You can see a flurry of new tyres that have been allocated for the drivers. We did call that at the start. They used none of their fresh tyres yesterday in racing because, of course, it was wet all the way throughout. So a lot of them saving them for this one. There, a stricken Birla kart. That is the number. Is that the 151 on our screens? I'm not sure who that is. It is a Birla. It might be the that might be actually the 158 of Ludovico Mazzola, actually, who was one of the drivers who spun in the early stages. Eyes on this one though. Clark leads the way. Green from Craigie. It's an all Britain 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Ian Krayling though is there in the Car Republic for Germany, starting to close in P4. He's got the close company, though, of the CRG of Asher Osteen. Rocco Coronel right behind him, as well as Scott Marsh, who was the pole sitter for this one, is slowly starting to fade into the field as he's got Nicholas Schaufler, the Austrian mouse, right there behind him. Eyes on this one, though. Is the group behind closing in on this lead trio? I think the answer to that is yes. Craigie, who's there in third place, is in a real danger zone here right now after he had that little slippery moment there as he clipped a wheel onto the wet part of the track. He's put himself in a bit of a danger zone right now. Through the bridge, here comes Coronel, though, back down the inside. Coronel through past Asher Osteen, getting up now into P5, and Coronel is on the recovery drive here right now. Marsh has come through as well, and do my eyes deceive me? Is that a bit of sunshine breaking through the clouds here at PF International? I think it might be for the first time since Friday, and all these drivers who have got their clear visors on now have just been dazzled by the sunlight that has broken out through the clouds. Absolutely amazing. We weren't expecting this at all. We were expecting worse conditions today, but it certainly seems to be brightening up for our drivers here for finals day. Jarrett Clark leads the way. Green, Craigie, Crayling. At this moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, back onto the start-finish straight, and again, they get dazzled by the sunlight over the start-finish line. Here comes Coronel down the inside of Schaufler. Schaufler getting just squeezed a little bit onto that wet part of the track, but he's managed to keep the temperature into the tyres. However, Kelleher and Marsh managed to get back through the exit of the bridge there as they head down in towards hairpin number 1. Top 4 are fine. Here's a look at the rain radar. Well, there's quite a bit of rain actually coming from the south. That looks like it's making a beeline for the circuit, but at what part of the day will that hit? Will it be during the finals, or will it be as soon as I leave the commentary box to go do the podiums? My life would say that it'll probably be at that time. Coronel, I think, sad drama. He's tumbling down the order on my screen. I don't know if it's transponder related or is the driver of the 109 out of this race. There are yellow flags out at hairpin number 1. There's a kart that's gone heavy into the barriers. It is a VDK, what looks to me like it's gone into the barriers there. And no, okay, Coronel's still in the race. It was a transponder issue. So the kart off there at turn number 1, I think is a VDK. And if that is the case, I think it's Gilles Herman, the Belgian, out of this one. Yep, you can see it, the 58 going no further, and he made a big hit into the wall there. He pushed quite a few barriers out of position, so the yellow flags, I suspect, will be out there for a little bit. And there's more karts off at the Fullerton S's. Now, the drivers are coming into that now. Who's the other kart that's off? It's just on the exit of the Fullerton S's. And Marshall's on scene. I think it might be Oscar Gallin. Oscar Gallin on the Koski Motorsport kart also out. Here's Ian Crayling, replay of him, down the inside of Zach Green. And Crayling up into third place. So Crayling now pushing through, the German driver enjoying the conditions right now, but he's got first place right in front of them. Jarrett Clark, Kenzo Craigie going for the lead. Crayling goes through as well. And now it is Craigie versus Crayling, 1-2. Clark is down into third place, as there off the track is the 97 of Andrea Mani, the Forza Racing driver, going no further. And I think Makar Savalev has also been a driver who's come a cropper out on circuit. As the sun continues to shine here at PFI, they'll be coming into yellow flags. No overtaking will be allowed here, so Craig is safe for the time being. Those flags clear now. So now he's going to have to think defensiveness. Bautista Panetta picks up a warning flag. But at the moment, Crayling piling on the pressure, but Clark's going to send it down the inside through the Mike Wilson complex. He's not got through. Crayling still in second place, and now has dropped back a little bit off the back of Kenzo Craigie. Kenzo Craigie so far this weekend has been eluded a qualifying heat win. Can he end the day with a Super Heat win?
It's not number I saw goes photograph 109.
So 109, Rocco Coronel, and that might be the reason why we saw Coronel dive down the order. Was it a case of it just missed one of the timing loops? Where has Jarrett Clark gone? Jarrett Clark, the number 41, he went very slow through hairpin number 1, did he put a wheel on the wet part of the circuit because he had no power out of the corner. And you can see him there in the background. He is no longer in this lead fight. The driver who was leading this superheat in the early stages is now out of contention with this one, but he's in still P5 and he's still looking strong. Oscar Gallen is still in this race. Makar Sevelev confirmed was a retirement. The driver of the Fusion team going no further. Right, well, at this moment in time, Kenzo Craigie leads the way and looks comfortable right now. Krayling still in second place. There they are on your screen. Green in third place. And they're still closing in. Asher Osteen trying to get involved. Coronel with the fastest lap of the race. 57s now we're doing. 57 threes. He's got a lot of real estate to try and close in right now as Green One's ride out of hairpin number 2. Asher Osteen might find a chance here to get past. Green certainly on the back foot here. He's trying to hold on to a top 3 finish. He's trying to hold on to a chance of starting on the inside of row number 2 for the final later on today as he sits third in the intermediate classifications. It's Anagnosianis who leads it. He's not bothered about anything, but Craigie now, who leads this race, bumps himself up to the front row. He would get a good chunk of championship points, which he's not too bothered about at the moment. He's 7th in the championship. He's quite far down, but that would still help him out. It would still bump up a fair few places being in this pole position final. Lap board is out. Craigie leads the way. Krayling right behind him, and I think Krayling's just said there, hey, don't worry about me, you go for it. I'm not going to go for the move, but, well, we're not saying he's telling lies, but we do tend to see it, the deceiving act of saying to the driver up ahead, hey, I'm not going to fight, you just keep going. And then when they're relaxed and leave the door open, then send it down the inside. Again, it's just that fine line the driver's got to learn when they can trust someone and when they can't. But for Kenzo Craigie, he could, and he will cross the line. He will claim his first win of the weekend, and it will come in Superheat 2 for the OK Junior category, and he will start on the front row for the final later on today. James Anagnosianis is confirmed the pole sitter for the final. Kenzo Craigie will join him. Green and Sala will round out row number 2. Clark and Baglin will round out row 3. Marsh and Hugendorn row 4. And Rocco Coronel and Kip Bolowski will round out row 5 for that final later on today. But all of that I've just said is provisional with a capital P. So don't take my word for it. Let's have a look at the full classifications at the end of that one. Kenzo Craigie taking his first win of the weekend for the Prema Racing team ahead of Arjen Krayling. Green from Osteen, from Clark, Coronel, Kelleher from Waltz, Brown and Marsh, Schaufler from Martinez, Ivanikov from Carrera, and Kriek rounding out the top 15. Boris Lysen from Lev Krutilov, Sebastian Mins, George Edgar. They are just outside or just inside the top cutoff area. Have they made it through to that final? That's the big question. Jean-Mateo Rousseau from Panama, I think, might not have made it. Same as Zhang Jose. Jack Eilif, Armin Kano Osman, Kanish Rao, Thomas Padir, Mats Van Ruin, Bautista Panetta, Oscar Gallin, rounding out the 28 finishers of that race. The retirements, quite a few of them. Makar Savalev, Andrea Mani, Endo Arata,